Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I was on. I uploaded a video during the week, and it was just a video that I recorded the day before the marathon in Valencia, but I haven't been on since Valencia. I recorded a whole lot of B-roll, so I recorded a lot of footage of me when I arrived, when I went out to the expo, and then the day before the race, I went out, had a shakeout run. I was talking to the camera a little bit on the night before the race, and then the plan was when I finished the race, I would kind of wrap it all up like the way I did with the Dublin Marathon, and then upload it all for a nice little video package. But what happened to me was that didn't all go to plan in the way it all panned out. So basically, the last one was a live feed actually the night before the race, and I was really looking forward to it. I was kind of had went through all the motions, had done everything that I needed to do, was feeling quite good, was feeling quite confident, and when I woke up the morning of the race, the day before when I did the shakeout run, I felt really good. The runners felt great, and I was really looking forward to it. I was really kind of optimistic in my mind about the race. And when I woke up in the morning of the race, I kind of didn't feel great. My pillow was all wet, and I was kind of sweaty all behind the back of my head. But I just thought, look, I'm in Spain. It's probably just a little bit warmer than normally. So I didn't really think much of it. And I had about a 2-kilometer walk from where I was staying down to the start line. And when I was walking down, I really didn't feel great, but I was just putting it down to nerves. And then I got down to the start line, kind of got settled, and felt pretty good. Had all my gels, everything was looking hunky-dory. I had a good breakfast. I got the right amount of carbs in that I needed, kind of similar to what I did for Dublin. So I was kind of feeling quite optimistic. But again, at the start line, it was just something didn't feel right. I don't know what it was. Anyway, the race started, and I felt really good. When I ran Dublin, trying to hold like 4:25, the 3:10 paces in Dublin were a little bit quick. And I never felt the pace was easy in Dublin, although I hadn't done a big taper. But I definitely felt, I mean, it wasn't difficult, but it wasn't like a walk in the park, which I was kind of expecting it to be with the pace that I was planning to run at. So Dublin was a little bit tougher than I thought, but I finished quite well. I did the 3:09 in Dublin. But when I got to Valencia, when I started running, my goal was to run a 4:22 per kilometre and to run it in 3 hours and 5 minutes, okay? And it felt pretty good. I was actually popping off a couple of kilometres, coming in at like 4:17, 4:18, 4:19. Certainly a good few kilometres under the 4:20. And I felt really good. And I was conscious to kind of rein it back and not over push it. So I did kind of slow it down in those interim kilometres. But I was feeling really good. And then when I got up around about the 16-kilometre mark, just I had lots of pain around the top of my back, of my neck was aching me, my arms. And then I started to get this low back pain, which I never get low back pain, but it was kind of really... It was really noticeable. Like, it wasn't enough to stop me running, but it was just, I just didn't feel great. I just felt something was off. I knew at 16 kilometers that it was going to be a really, really difficult day. And I was thinking to myself, although the kilometers were still ticking off quite well, I was thinking that just, it didn't feel right. I don't know what it was. Anyway, I kept running. By the time I got to 25 kilometers, I was starting to struggle a bit. And by the time I got to 30 kilometers, I had started walking. Because I really felt awful. Just my whole body ached. My legs actually felt fine. My heart rate was probably a little bit higher than what it would usually be. I kept looking down at my heart rate thinking it was going to drop. Usually it takes about a kilometre or two into the marathon, then my heart rate will drop a bit. Usually when I start off, it's in around about the 144, 145. And then by the time I get a couple of kilometres in, it usually drops to around about 138, 139, and then it will sit there, and then it will kind of gradually creep up as the day goes on. But my heart rate wasn't under 145, I think, at all. And even in the last stage when I was walking, the heart rate wasn't coming down at all. Like, it wasn't going below 144. So I knew there was something up. And by that stage, it was really hot. It got up to 25 degrees. So I was kind of putting it down to the fact that it was just a hot day. And I didn't feel great. And I just thought it was just one of those days. So anyway, I finished the race in 4 hours and 25 minutes. It wasn't bad. I was kind of happy enough with that. I was well pleased that I didn't pull out, because the temptation to pull out was really high, because I just felt really bad. And I remember just thinking of the race, you know what, I've come over here to get a medal. You know, who cares about the time? My time's still going to be decent anyway. So just dig in deep and just keep the legs moving. And even if you have to walk, I was actually, at around 30K, I was like, I'll probably get to 35 kilometers and then just walking in. That's the way my brain had gone. But I did quite a bit of running. I think I was certainly walking a lot in the last couple of kilometers, but the average pace was still pretty good. Like I said, I finished in 4:25, which I was happy that I did. And actually, funny story, as I was crossed the finish line, there's these kind of little small black timing mats. Like they're like kind of a half of a speed ramp. They're like really small. They're definitely noticeable. They're definitely maybe about this high off the ground. And as I ran through the finish line, I actually tripped over it and cut my elbow. I actually cut my knee as well. I kind of hit the ground really hard. Paramedics came running over. There was about 10 staff on me within about, before I even hit the ground. I think they were asking me, trying to help me up, but I was kind of pushing them away, telling them, look, I'm all right. I don't need any help. I'm actually fine. I just tripped. I didn't fall because of any sort of overexerting reasons. It was just, as I looked down to hit my watch, I just tripped on the mat and just kind of fell over. So that was that. So I finished up anyway, and then I got my medal, got some water, and then I walked back towards where I was staying. I kind of sat around for a while. I was waiting. There was a friend of mine who was running. He was planning to do like sub 3 hours, and he ended up having a difficult day as well because of the heat. And so I made my way back to my hotel. I had a shower, and then I went down and had a burger and a beer with a guy I know over there. And then I finished that, and then I was kind of walking. Excuse me. I was heading back towards my hotel, and then I saw on Instagram that another friend of mine was in really close to where I was staying. So I called in to see her and her husband, and then they had 2 other friends with them. And I sat with them, had another beer, and then when I left that bar, it was probably about 9 o'clock in the evening time. I went to walk home. As I came out into the air, I was really cold, like really shivery. I just thought the air was cold, and I'd overexert myself. And anyway, I went back to the hotel. I got into bed, and literally I remember I lay down. I was like really feeling shivery. And I wouldn't usually go to bed early, but it was only about 9:30. I thought I better get up and brush my teeth and just get ready for bed, kind of just get everything sorted. So I did, and then I lay in bed and I thought I'll get up again, and I might go out and just have another little walk around and see if there's anybody out and about. And when I lay down in bed, then the second time I really started to shiver, and then that just set in motion. A fever kicked in, and I had the whole night. I just spent like sweats, shivering, like just feeling absolutely awful. And then that progressed. I woke up I didn't really sleep that Sunday night. That was the night of the race. Didn't sleep really at all. Like I said, my bed sheets were soaking. I had a t-shirt on. I had like an old Ironman t-shirt on, and that was absolutely. I could have rang it out. That's how wet it was. I got up the next morning, had a shower, and I had planned to go for this really nice Tex-Mex place that I'd been in last year. I was going to go and get some nachos and some nice food, but I felt so awful. I couldn't even eat any breakfast. Literally got myself down to the train station. I had to get a train up to Madrid, and then make my way from the train station across to the airport, and then at home. By the time I got back to Dublin, I was just absolutely really suffering. I had like this flu had kicked in. I spent like Monday night, when I get off the plane, I actually thought I was going to die. I was shivering. I couldn't wait to get across, coming off the Ryanair flight over to the terminal. I just felt so awful. I got across the terminal, and then all day Tuesday in bed, ended up going to my doctor. That's how I felt so bad. The shivering, the fever wouldn't break. I was taking paracetamol every 6 hours, just taking 2 of them to try and bring the fever down, but it just wouldn't break. It was really kind of in a bad way. I went to my doctor, and he did some urine tests, and realised there was a lot of protein in my urine. And he said, look, that would be a combination. You wouldn't be surprised with a little bit of that after running a marathon, and also if somebody had the flu, but the combination of the two. And he figured that's why I was shivering so bad and why the fever wouldn't break. So I went back home, had another couple of days in bed, really felt awful for a good 5 days, just felt absolutely horrendous. And then only kind of start to come around maybe around about Monday or Tuesday this week. It developed once the flu and the fever broke. I kind of got a little bit of a cough, a little bit of a runny nose, but really felt awful. And the unfortunate thing was, it was definitely there the morning of the race. It was probably why I was feeling so bad. I definitely had the start. It was like the first morning of the flu. So it was annoying, but I don't really mind. In hindsight, look, I love Valencia. It's a beautiful city. It's a privilege to go over there. It was a privilege to run a marathon there and to get another medal. I wasn't overly delighted with the time setting out, but I was delighted that I finished. I was delighted I got the medal. And I met a friend of mine last Sunday. He did a long run, and I just went down to meet him for a coffee when we finished. The two of us were chatting, and he was saying, you're disappointed. I said, no, look, here's how it is with a marathon now. I've done 26 of them now. So you do your training and you rock up in the day and you just give it your best. And you can only do your best. And I certainly did my best in Valencia. I couldn't have given any more. I couldn't have trained anymore. I couldn't have prepared anymore. It was really bad luck that I ended up with the flu that morning. The beginning of it, it's just bad luck. But there's nothing you can do about that. And you're not going to see me sitting around crying about it or whimpering or kind of giving out and wishing my life away and saying, it's not fair. It is what it is. I don't mind. Like I said, I did 3 hours, 25 minutes. And I think most people in the world who do marathons, most people would be quite happy with 3 hours, 25. So I'm pleased. It's not the ideal situation. It wasn't ideally how I would have planned it to go. But it is what it is. And like I said, I'm delighted that I got the medal. And that's pretty much how it went. I've been awful. I've been feeling really bad for the last couple of days anyway. I planned, like I said, I had all that B-roll recorded. I was going to package it together and make a little video, but it seems like the time has passed now. I was going to just take the camera out today and just kind of record like just me wrapping up and saying, here's what happened, and then put it all together and show you all the B-roll. And I just kind of thought that the moment had passed. So I thought it was just easier to come on and talk like this. I didn't want to let it go. I didn't want to just not talk about the fact that I did the Valencia Marathon, since it was such a prominent thing on the channel for the last year. But the reason, it wasn't that I was embarrassed, or it wasn't that I wasn't coming on because I didn't want to talk about it. It was just I felt so bad for the last week that I just thought there's no point in me even trying to talk. I was coughing and spluttering, and I just felt awful. So that's it. That's how the Valencia Marathon went. I haven't ran. It'll be 2 weeks. Today is Friday, so Sunday will be 2 weeks since the race, and I haven't ran. I haven't even walked. I haven't even done a walk since then. That's how bad I felt. Today was kind of the first day that I kind of felt back to normal. I have still a lingering little bit of a cough, but I might try and do a little park run tomorrow. I'm going out tonight to meet a friend of mine. His dad passed away during the week, Dennis Ryan. I'm going to go and meet him, and if it's not too much of a hectic night, I might do the park run with my son tomorrow. But if not, I might just take it easy tomorrow and try to do a little bit on Sunday. So I will the next video will be me talking about my goals. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next year. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a marathon. I'm signed up to the Dublin Marathon. I got the race entry, but I don't know how it's going to play. This year was a positive year in terms of running. When I looked at the overall picture, like I said, Valencia wasn't great, but my whole year was really positive. I had a fantastic year running. My goal at the start of the year was to PB any race, and I really thought that the only one that it was possible to do it in was the marathon. I came pretty close in Dublin. I was 17 seconds off, but I did PB a half marathon in Dublin. So, like I said, the year was a really positive year. I had another good half marathon. I really ran a good Frank Duffy 10 mile, and I really enjoyed the Raheny race at the start of the year. So I'm doing Raheny. I'm signed up for it in January. So if I can get myself back moving again, there's definitely some speed in my legs. There's definitely good fitness there. I mean, it's 2 weeks since the race, but I was sick, but I would have taken 2 weeks off anyway, so I'm not going to worry about that. But I think if I can get back into a little bit of training, I could end up getting myself a good little time in Raheny this year. That's going to be the plan. I'm also going to get the bike out and start doing a little bit of cycling. For next maybe 2 months, I'm just going to take some time to reflect. I'll train through December. I'll train through January. I'll see how I feel. I don't really know what the goals are going to be for next year. I was so unwell last week, I wasn't really thinking about it, but I'll certainly be YouTubing. I'll certainly be exercising. I'll certainly be talking about my journey, about health, fitness, and all the rest. And that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I don't think I have any comments there, do I? Sub 3 is so fast. Yeah, yikes. Runner girl, runner geek girl. That's Heather. Hi, Heather. But yeah, I'm recovering well. Like I said, overall, an absolutely fantastic year of running. I'm well pleased and well proud that at the age of 48, I'm still able to PB a race. And yeah, like I said, I'm not sure what I will do next year. I'll certainly be running. I would say now, if you're to call me to, I would say I will certainly try and PB the half marathon again. Getting that PB this year seemed very easy. I didn't really have to exert too much. I didn't have to push too much. I certainly felt when I finished that race that there was way more still inside. So I might go with that. And then who knows what will happen with Dublin. I'm not sure. I definitely want to do a little bit more biking. I want to get on my bike, and I want to go away this year and do like a weekend away on my bike. And I want to do a little bit of swimming as well. I want to get back into the pool. The idea there is to do another half Ironman, or I would certainly like to do another Ironman, but certainly not in 2026. But that's kind of, setting things in motion. But yeah, I'm not too sure what the goals are. And I don't want to say goals now when they don't really mean anything, and then in a day or two could change my mind. So I will think about it over the next week or two, and I will have a video up about what I'm going to be doing for 2025. But certainly running PB will be a goal again, because I think I can get at the half marathon, and maybe even in the 10 mile. I think my 10 mile PB is just under 65 minutes, or 64. I mean, that's running at 4 minutes per kilometer. So that will be a tough one. But like I said, I felt that good after the half marathon. It is a possibility. We'll see what the speed has. We'll see how I feel when I do Raheny in a couple of weeks. But anyway, that's it for this video, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm not going to go on too much, but thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the massive support throughout the last year. It's been a real roller coaster ride. I really appreciate all the people who come on and give the comments. the people who give the encouragement. And now it's like when I'm out and about, I meet people all the time who know me from the YouTube channel. There was a couple of people. I was actually standing at the start line in Valencia, and the way you line up is it's like a dual carriageway with a gap in the middle. So I'm on one side, and then there's a big gap, like there's a drop down to a road below, and then there's another road kind of adjacent to where you are. And we're all lining up. There's people. There's kind of two corrals. And there was a guy on the other side of the fence. He shouted across. He's like, "Are you Run Sensible?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "I watch all your videos and chat." And then I was standing at the start line with a guy who lives in Valencia, guy from Barcelona or from Belfast, and he was like, "Oh, I watch all your videos. It's really cool." So that's really nice when you get that. But yeah, I'll keep it going. I have lots of plans to kind of develop the channel and bring it on a little bit. I will try and continue doing a live feed every Friday if I can. I missed it last week because I was so unwell, but I'm back now. And I will definitely get back on with a couple of videos coming this week, just talking about how I'm going to get back into training after the marathon, how I'm going to reintroduce myself to training after being so unwell for a while. I'll do a little video on that, and then that will help me kind of kick off the next phase of what we're going to do leading forwards. That's it for this video, guys. You know what to do. In the meantime, before I'm back on, run far, run fast, but most of all, run sensible.